Lonely and Gone, Montgomery
My
Gentry.
life.
Kicks 105.5. Really?
In my head, it's Lonely and Gone.
Yeah, it's just foggy and dark in mine.
Yeah, that too.
Good morning to you, Kicks 105.5. It is 7:46. Jumping into it a little early because Barrett seems to be all wound up today over a very interesting article because he is a part of a larger group of insurers across the world.
That is actually a newsletter that gets issued by the company that I have my home and auto with.
Okay.
So it's the summer newsletter that has a wonderful article that I thought was a good topic for the day.
Did your wife convince you to go with her as an agent?
Yes.
Don't rely on the dealer to transfer your insurance. And you said this is a very important situation because it has a very lengthy article about now not only are they trying to sell you cars when you're at a car dealership, but they want to sell you insurance right then and there for said car. And
right.
That is not probably the best thing for you as a consumer to just take that and be like, oh, I just want to wrap it all up and be done.
Right.
You definitely want to look into your choices. And some are saying that they want to do this because they feel it is cheaper. Always the word cheaper comes to mind when people are talking about spending money, especially if you're just getting a car. You're like, I could just whatever the bare minimum is. And as we've had many conversations, don't not do things locally because then when the time comes that you need help, remember, that person is not here. Mm-hmm. And then they don't have your particular situation, whether it is you've got 16-year-old kids, whether it is you have a mother who lives at home, whether you have a 5-car garage.
Man, I trained him so stinking well.
So
I'm listening to him going, I could hire him today. I don't want to, but I could.
I could be your agent. So tell me the details of this story and why people really should take this seriously.
Yeah, well, let's go back. So if you're a member, if you got this newsletter, if you're with Cooperative Insurance Companies, one of the companies we represent, I'm not ashamed to say I have my home and auto with Cooperative Insurance. I have for many moons. So this newsletter came out, and I was very, very intrigued. I'm like, wow, I talk about that a lot. I'm going to read this article. So it says, hey, if you're buying a car, don't rely on the dealership to transfer your insurance. And why is that? Well, because there's an assumption there. You could be leaving that dealership and going, I'm all set, and driving in that car, and then maybe one day we're talking about what your vehicles are, and, well, I don't know about that vehicle. Oh, so-and-so didn't call you? Whoa. You are party to the contract. The dealership is not party to the contract. So even though they're giving you a wonderful courtesy, and believe me, this is for good intentions, they're like, hey, let's help you out. We'll call and report this new car.
Good intentions have bad results.
They can. They are not allowed to do that because it'd be like me calling somebody and saying, hey, it's like me calling whoever you're insured with, Sean, saying, switch his insurance to this. I can't do that. I am not party to the contract. And then let's remember, it's an auto insurance policy is a contract.
Even let you talk to somebody about your policy. Let's say I went and bought a car today from whomever, and I didn't tell him that my daughter, who's 21, who has had a crash, is also living in my home still.
Right.
And that I have another car. They're only assuming that I'm driving that car.
Right.
And so they're going to give me this incredible deal.
Possibly.
And to save the hassle later when I find out the truth, they're going to go, oh, well, yeah, it's going to be actually $200 more a month because of XYZ. And I'd go, well, why didn't you ask these questions?
Or what if you had accidents that you forgot to disclose? I've had people, I'm not kidding you when I tell you this, I've had people come into my office, and I'm quoting their insurance.
7 times.
And, hey,
7 times.
How's your MV? This is, of course, subject to a clean motor vehicle report and loss report. How's it look? Oh, we're good. We're good. This is awesome. I love this. I run it, I'm like, so, could you tell me about the DUI last month?
Number 3.
Oh, I forgot about that.
The DUI number 3, driving on a suspended license.
So there's a lot of variables there. There's a lot of things. Let's be honest. I mean, little accidents we can absolutely forget. But,
they were drunk. That's why they forgot.
That's why they still are.
On the bottom of the citation, and there was a llama in the car?
Can you tell me about the llama? Did it spit at the officer? But the biggest point here is that there were just a tremendous amount of variables, and I'm going to do a quick exercise with you, Sean, right now, if that's okay.
I don't do exercise.
So,
Mental. Yeah, I could do that. That's fine.
I said quick. So, so here's the deal. I am selling you a car. Now I'm saying, hey, let us quote your insurance. Now, what's happened is some dealerships, including some local ones, have become affiliated with this other company that allows you to get a quote for your auto insurance right there at the dealership. Okay. Now, when you are asked to get that quote and you start the process, from what I understand, there's some compensation immediately going to the dealership for you just doing that, because it isn't a third party. It's not the dealership themselves. It's an affiliation.
And probably the salesperson. So there's there's two kickbacks
so there's incentive on their end for you to do it. And of course, there could be betterment on your side for maybe getting a better rate. I'm not going to deny that. That's how insurance works.
Doesn't sound like that, though.
But here's my concern, and you know me well enough, and you know this conversation well enough that, yes, I need to keep my lights on, but I'm not going, please don't do that. I don't want to. It's consumer education.
And you're not going to dumb yourself down or make your product less of a quality product and service just because other people are trying to, underdo you.
Yeah, I mean, it's the competition is the nature of the world, so we're totally fine with that. But I would like to think anyone who's a regular listener to this program knows that our biggest thing is consumer education, making sure that you're making informed decisions about some of the biggest assets in your life, some of the biggest protections in your life. So the quick exercise is, if I am now going, Sean, let's quote your auto insurance and see if I can get you a better deal than what you have right now.
Oh, sounds good.
All right, so what do you have for liability limits? Give me your liability limits right now.
I don't know.
How about medical payments? Do you have medical payments coverage? What are those limits?
I would assume that I do, but I don't know.
Do you know your deductibles for comprehensive and collision?
Couple $1,000.
Do you know if you have a $0 glass deductible on your windshield?
I would just call Safelite and ask them.
Would you like roadside assistance, gap insurance, or even pet coverage?
Well, with the llama, I have to.
But, so the high probability is there that the quote that you get may be really appealing, but it may not nearly represent what you have.
Right.
And that's something I contend with all the time when I'm quoting people. I go, well, what do you have for coverage? And if they don't know, I say, you know what? I'm going to quote you what I call our standard fare. And it's not minimum liability. It's actually quite a bit above minimum liability, because we refuse to offer that in our office. But we want to make sure that we're giving people appropriate coverage, or at least as close to appropriate coverage. And oftentimes I'll say, look, take this quote, go find your auto policy and see if it matches up. And if I'm higher, let's see why. If I'm lower, let's see why. And let's make sure we're not sacrificing coverage for cost. And that's the biggest concern I have. Don't sacrifice coverage for cost. When the rubber meets the road, i.e. a claim occurs, you want to make sure you have what you thought you had.
Actually, that would be more when the rubber stops touching the road, that you would be filing a claim. If you'd like to know
as well.
more about good policies that we discuss here with Mike Barrett from Barrett Insurance Agency, you can call him up at
748-5224. You can visit our website, thebarrettagency.com. We are also on Facebook, YouTube, and Google Plus as Barrett Insurance Agency.
Thanks, buddy.
Have a good day.